Hey, what's up you guys? It's me, Lexi, and welcome back to my channel. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie, I've been having a little bit of an off week. Like, it just hasn't been my week, so if I seem a little bit off, I'm really sorry. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys my babies. I'm talking about my record collection. I love records so much. I love collecting records. It makes me so happy. It's one of my biggest hobbies. I want you guys to get a sense of my music taste because musically, like, my taste is all over the place. This is definitely gonna have to be a series because I can't show you guys my whole collection in one sitting. I have too many records, so we'd be here for days, but I just want to show you guys some of my babies. And not gonna lie, some of these records, like, I haven't opened yet, but I have listened to the album and I love the album, and I got the album on vinyl because I love the album. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So I actually went record shopping a few weeks ago and I vlogged it, but like I just didn't post it because I felt like it wasn't that interesting. But I do want to show you guys what I got. I'm gonna start off with these two and then go into my 45s and then show you guys some of my albums. This is Jaded by Aerosmith, and like I have always deeply resonated with this song from the time I was a teenager. And then the B-side is Angel's Eye, which is from the Charlie's Angels soundtrack. And then the album I got is Why Can't We Be Friends by War. I feel like everybody knows the title track, which is the Why Can't We Be Friends? It's been used in like so many commercials. This album has a little bit of a sentimental value to me because I do music, and the first song that I ever wrote and was proud of was a song called The Way. And on that track, I sampled the War song Lowrider, also known as the George Lopez theme song. I've never released the song because I didn't really know how to get the sample cleared, but I'm working on it now and hopefully it'll be out by next year. But yeah, I love this album. I've had my eye on it for a while and I have it now. Now onto my 45s. One of my aunts was like, "Hey Lex, I know you're into records and I have a whole box of records that I've been collecting dust in my closet for years, so you're welcome to come over, go through the records and take what you like." And basically I got all of these 45s from her house. I know some of them don't have sleeves, don't drag me, I'm working on it. And then I think one or two of them I got from record stores. I'm just gonna go through them really quickly. The first one we have here is Too Much Heaven by the Bee Gees, and then the B-side is Rest Your Love. The next one we have is Hotel California by the Eagles, and then the B-side is New Kid in Town. The next one we have is Don't Stop Till You Get Enough by Michael Jackson, and then the B-side is I Can't Help It, which, such a good song by the way. I'm not even a huge Michael Jackson fan, but like I Can't Help It is a bop. Then we have Prince, I Wanna Be Your Lover, and the B-side is My Love Forever. Then we have the Ohioplayers by Centennial, and the B-side is Uchiku Parliament with Do That Stuff, and the B-side is Handcuffs. We have The Whispers with And the Beat Goes On, and the B-side is Can You Do the Boogie. Spinners with Wake Up Susan, and the B-side is If You Can't Be in Love. We have Roberta Flack with Killing Me Softly with his song, and then the B-side is Just Like a Woman. We have Barry Gibb with Grease. I believe this is the theme song to Grease. Then the B-side is just an instrumental. We have another Ohioplayers with Far East Mississippi, and then the B-side is Only a Child Can Love. Now we have some Willie Hutch with Love Power, and the B-side is Talk to Me. Next we have Denise Williams with Let's Hear It for the Boy. It's from Footloose, and the B-side is just an instrumental. Now we have a little James Brown with Get Up Off of That Thing, and the B-side is Release the Pressure. Now we have a little Beatles. We have Yesterday, and the B-side is Act Naturally. Got a little Aretha with Something He Can Feel, and then the B-side is Loving You Baby. We're almost done. We have Funkadelic with One Nation Under Groove, parts 1 and 2. Curtis Mayfield with So in Love, and the B-side is Hard Times. Rod Stewart, Do You Think I'm Sexy, which, by the way, I saw Rod Stewart in concert last year, and I'm thinking about doing a concert review about that, so like, if you want that, let me know down below. And then the B-side is Scarred and Scared. We have a little Wham. I do have Make It Big, but that's gonna be in like my next video. But Yeah, this is just Careless Whisper, and then the B-side is the instrumental. Ronnie by Bobby Brown, and then the other side is just the same thing, basically. I Want You Back by the Jackson 5, and then the B-side is Who's Lovin' You. Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. I actually do have this album. That will be in a different video. And then the B-side is I Wish It Would Rain. The last one I have for you guys is Donna Summer, Heaven Knows, and then the B-side is Only One Man. So those are all of my 45s. Let's get into the albums. Okay, so these first two albums, I kind of just want to get out the way because I feel like everybody with a record player has one of these albums. First one is Fleetwood Mac Rumors, and I mean, duh, you have to have it. The next one is Tame Impala's Currents. This one too, everybody with a record player that I know, old or young, has this album, so we're just gonna get this one out of the way too. This is the first record I ever got. This is the Teddy Wilson Piano Solos by Teddy Wilson. I got this from my stepdad because my stepdad let me pick a record from his collection, which he inherited from his brother. He was like, you can pick any record you want from this collection, but like there's one catch: no Sinatra and no Beatles. And the rest was jazz. And I don't really like jazz like that, but I was like, you know what? Like this guy, he looks very happy. So let me check it out. And I mean, it's all right. Honestly, like I said, I'm not really into jazz, so like I don't really have a lot to compare it to. And I don't hate jazz, by the way. Jazz just kind of puts me to sleep. This album reminded me of music you would hear in like a silent film or like a Charlie Brown Christmas special. But yeah, I mean, the album's alright. He definitely has his finger technique down pat. This next album, it basically raised me with like how much my mom would play it. This album and The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, like my mom would play it all the time growing up. This album is Maxwell's Now. I have so many memories of being in the backseat of my mom's car with this album playing, especially Lifetime, because that was my mom's favorite song. Also, Maxwell ate Kate Bush up on his cover of This Woman's Work. I honestly never knew this was a cover until a few years ago. I was on Spotify and saw one of my friends listening to the original by Kate Bush, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And yeah, like I never knew that. He ate her up. I'm sorry. Funny enough, my mom got this for me for Christmas back in 2021. Yeah, definitely a full circle moment, and this album was very fundamental to my childhood. This next album is Wings at the Speed of Sound by Wings. I would consider myself to be a Paul McCartney fan, but I never really got into Wings, and I got this album so I could start getting into Wings. I feel like the most popular song on this album is Silly Love Songs. I haven't listened to this album in its entirety, but I think She's My Baby is such a cute song. Like, you could tell he really loved Linda. All right, this next album, anyone close to me knows how much this album means to me, and I don't want to get emotional, but like, I think I'm gonna get emotional. The album is Billy Joel's The Stranger. I love this album. I already feel myself tearing up. I cannot tell you guys the number of times I've cried myself to sleep listening to this album. Like, I really do love this album. I cannot even begin to tell you guys how much of a masterpiece this album is. Billy Joel truly put his whole pussy in this album. The reason this album makes me so emotional is not Vienna or She's Always a Woman. It's actually Just the Way You Are. I know. I'm trying really hard not to cry right now talking about this song and like this album, but it just means so much to me. Billy Joel has this one line in Just the Way You Are that like gets me every time, where he says, I said I love you, and that's forever, and this I promise from the heart. This line just like always cuts deep for me, because I feel like, you know, as a hopeless romantic who has never been in love, I really hope I can meet someone who loves me like just like that. You can tell just by that line and like how deep it is that Billy Joel really loved his first wife that he wrote the song about. And you want to know something else crazy? When Billy Joel and his first wife got divorced in 1982, he stopped performing the song live from 1986 to the mid-2000s because it was too painful for him to perform. That's how deep the song cuts. This is not just a song I hear on my local soft rock station and go, "Aw, that's cute." Like, no, this song just cuts deep for me. I'm literally hugging the album right now because this song affects me on such a deep level that I don't think I'll ever be truly able to articulate, which is why the album means so much to me. And I definitely have to get another copy soon because it's gotten to the point where I listen to this album so much, it starts skipping. I've mentioned The Cure in a few of my videos now, but I haven't actually gotten the chance to talk about my love for The Cure. So here's that time. This album is The Head on the Door by The Cure. Fun fact, this album came out on my birthday back in the year 1985. The most notable tracks on this album are Close to Me and In Between Days. I think In Between Days is mid, but like, I Won't Start. I like the songs Push and Sinking, but I would say my favorite song on the album is A Night Like This. A Night Like This is probably like my second favorite Cure song behind Just Like Heaven. I love that song. It definitely does not get its flowers, and honestly, I'd argue that A Night Like This is better than Love Song. I'm sorry, I just gotta be honest. So the next album I have is Spyrogyra's self-titled album. I got this for two reasons. Number one, my mom liked the group in the 80s. And number two, when I was in college, I majored in music, and one of my professors was in this band, and he was on this album. So I don't want to put his name out there because I don't want to give away like where I went to college, but like, Google is free if you're absolutely dying to know. But shout out to him for real because he was my music theory teacher and I was always in his office hours because I struggle with music theory. But I remember bringing this up to him and I was like, hey, like, I don't want to make things weird, but like, my mom was a huge fan of your band in the 80s. Like, can you please sign this for her? And he was like, yeah, I'll sign it at the end of the semester. Like, just bring it in. And I totally forgot at the end of the semester to bring it in. To be fair, I was going through a lot, so it was like the last thing on my mind. But yeah, JWall, if you happen to come across this, can you DM me on Instagram so you can sign this for my mom right in time for Christmas? Please and thank you. As for the album, I haven't listened to it because I was gonna give it to my mom as a gift, but I do have it saved to my Spotify library so I can just get a sense of like what it sounds like. All right, so for this next one, like, I'm not a huge fan of compilation albums or like greatest hits. Like, I don't really like that. I just prefer to get the album. But I saw this at Walmart and there was one copy and I was like, Walmart, like, what do you know about this? And this is Who Cares a Lot, the very best of Faith No More. Faith No More is one of my favorite bands ever. I am such a Mike Patton apologist. Like, it is not even funny. If Mike Patton has one fan, it's me. If Mike Patton has no fans, I'm dead. I think he is the most talented man in the world after Prince, but Prince is dead. So he is the most talented man in the world. I used to have this like, this is like super embarrassing to say on camera, but I used to dream about Mike Patton adopting me. So like, that's my dad right there. But like I said, I saw this at Walmart and I was like, Walmart, what the fuck do you know about Faith No More? To be honest, I don't know of anybody in my day-to-day life that knows of Faith No More, except for this one guy that I used to date for a little bit. I feel like they're kind of niche, which is why I was surprised to see this in a Walmart. The popular track is obviously Epic. I think that was like their highest charting song. I can't even pick a favorite song on here. Like, these are all bangers. Like, maybe Evidence or like Falling to Pieces, I don't know, but all bangers. And on the topic of Mike Patton, I'm gonna show you guys Mr. Bungle, the raging wrath of the Easter Bunny demo. This was their first album in 21 years, and also the first album I got to experience being released while being a fan. I listened to this album as soon as it came out, and I fucking loved it. I fuck with the song Erasist so hard. I also recommend watching The Night They Came Home, which is the live concert version of the album. It's really good. The next album I have is Ohioplayers' Honey, and boy do I have a fucking story about this album. My stepdad put me onto this album when I was younger, and I remember looking for this album in early 2020 but could not find it anywhere for under $100. I was like, I love this album, but like, I'm not paying $100+ for it. Like, it's not Led Zeppelin. I went to so many record stores in the state of Connecticut looking for this album and could not find it anywhere. And then I went to college in upstate New York and was like, oh, I'll be able to find it within like an hour radius, and wrong. Couldn't find it anywhere. It wasn't until 2021 that I went on a family vacation to Maryland and Virginia that I found this at a record store in Maryland, and I believe it was only like $30. And it was at that same record store that I paid an ungodly amount of money for this original Led Zeppelin pressing. This is their first album, obviously, and that's all I'm gonna say on this album, okay? It is nobody's business besides me and my bank how much I spent on it. But back to Ohioplayers. Having to go to 3 different states was definitely worth it to get this album. The 2 standout tracks on this album are obviously Fop and Love Roller Coaster. Fop I will get to later. But yeah, this album is a huge staple in the funk community for sure. This next album is definitely like the most unexpected thing in my collection, and that is Roy Orbison's Mystery Girl. I'm not a huge rockabilly person, but like there is something so soothing about Roy Orbison's voice. I can put on this album and just go to sleep. Like, it's so peaceful. I feel like the most popular song from the album that everyone knows is You Got It. Can we talk about You May Feel Me Crying or A Love So Beautiful? Not gonna lie, I may shed a tear to those 2 songs, but you know, just a beautiful album overall. This next record is probably like my favorite physical record just because of how beautiful it is, and this is Soundgarden's Screaming Life / Fop. I'm gonna try my best not to touch this too much, but like, look at how beautiful it is. Especially with the blue and black tie-dye. This was a limited of 500, as you can kind of see right here. In case you're new to this channel, I love grunge. Like, my favorite band of all time is Nirvana. My favorite Soundgarden song ever is definitely Hunted Down, which is on this album, which isn't even an album. It's really 2 EPs that they put together to make an album, but you know, you get it. I don't mean to be one of these people, but I definitely prefer this era of Soundgarden because they were just more raw and unpolished. Like, if you compare this to Bad Motorfinger, by the way, I'm not coming for Bad Motorfinger. I like Bad Motorfinger, but if you compare Bad Motorfinger to this, Bad Motorfinger was definitely a bit more like watered down, a bit more polished, a bit more radio friendly, if you will. And like, Chris Cornell even admitted to this. He once said in an interview, I think there's songs on the new record which are almost more commercially viable because they have that memorable feel to them. So he knew. And once again, I'm not coming for Soundgarden. I love Soundgarden, and also Nirvana did the same thing, because if you compare Nevermind to Bleach, I mean, also remember how earlier I was telling you guys about the Ohioplayers and how they had their song called Fop? Well, Screaming Life / Fop is the name of this EP because Soundgarden did a cover of that song. But overall, I think this is a cool album, and I really like Soundgarden in this era. The next album I have is Virtue by thevoidz. If you are a fan of the band The Strokes, then you might know what this is. If not, let me tell you really quick. This is The Strokes' lead singer, Julian Casablancas' side project. Fun fact about thevoidz is that their song Human Sadness is actually my intro song. I just slowed it down and added reverb. I think the best way I can describe this album is like The Strokes meets Pink Floyd meets Tame Impala. Like, it's very psychedelic garage rock is the best way I can describe it. Favorite tracks for me are definitely Leave It in My Dreams, Pink Ocean, Wink, and Pointlessness. I saw them live a few months after this album came out, and like, It was good, but definitely an experience that I want to share eventually on this channel, so let me know if you're interested in that. But yeah, like I said before, if you're into psychedelic garage rock, this is definitely for you. This next album is Joe Jackson's Night and Day. I feel the need to clarify that this is not Michael Jackson's dad. This is a different guy. He's British. I know I said earlier I don't like jazz, but this is definitely jazz infused synth pop, if you will, and I really like how different it is. I feel like Steppin' Out is like the most popular song from this album. But one of my professors in college, like my favorite professor ever, he put me onto Cancer, and that song slaps. 4 more albums. Next album I have for you guys is dominicfike's Don't Forget Me Demos EP. I don't mean to be one of these people, but I'm gonna be one of these people really quick. I have been into Dominicfike since like 2018 or 2019 because I remember him being friends with Brockhampton, and I'm a huge Brockhampton fan. And I remember back in 2019 telling all of my friends, go listen to Dominicfike, go listen to Phone Numbers, and they would be like, yeah, okay, and just never go listen to him. And then last year, when he ended up on Euphoria, everybody and their mother became a Dominicfike fan, and that's fine because I want him to get his recognition as a fan. I think he deserves all of the flowers and all of the praise. I just hate the fact that people have such a bandwagon mentality where they don't want to like things until it's cool, and then once it's cool, they're quick to jump on the bandwagon. But nonetheless, I feel like the most, notable track is 3 Nights. But I think hands down, the best song on the album is West Coast Collective. I know he gets a lot of comparisons to Jack Johnson, and I feel like you can compare Jack Johnson to Dominicfike, but you can't compare Dominicfike to Jack Johnson. Like, if I heard Upside Down, I would definitely think it was a Dominicfike song, but like, if I heard She Wants My Money, or like Baby Doll, you think I'm gonna think that's a Jack Johnson song? No, but this was such a good EP. This is how his album, What Could Possibly Go Wrong, should have sounded like, because what could possibly go wrong? That album. I love you, Dominic, peace and love, but the album was not good. And I'm glad his most recent album, Sunburn, sounded like this. Next one, I hope I don't get in trouble from YouTube for showing this. Like, I might, I don't know. But this artist I actually got into from Dominicfike because they did a song together. It was called Hit Me Up, and that artist is Omarapollo, and this is Apollonio. I'm holding this down here so I don't get, Listen, my favorite artist of all time is Prince. We've been over this on this channel, and I feel like you can't really compare anyone to Prince, but Omarapollo comes pretty damn close, from the falsetto to the instrumentation to the way he can switch genres from track to track. I think if he keeps it up, he's gonna be huge one day. He's also bilingual, so a few of his songs are in Spanish. My favorite tracks on the album are Useless and Stay Back. But yeah, definitely keep your eyes out for Omarapollo. I think he has the potential to be a household name someday. And on the topic of Prince, who is once again my favorite artist ever, I have Purple Rain. Obviously, I think I could do a whole video on all of my Prince records. I have a lot of them. Basically, one of my aunts was a huge Prince fan. Like, she only had in her record collection Prince and Elvis, and she would buy the new Prince records as they came out, so she had a lot of albums. And when she died in 2017, one of my cousins got her albums, and my cousin was like, I don't know what to do with these. I don't have a record player. And so she gave them to me in like 2021. Anyways, I'm gonna talk about Purple Rain, which is his staple album. It also ripped right here. I don't really know what's going on here. I wanna get a new cover for it. Obviously, everyone knows the title track and like, Let's Go Crazy, When Doves Cry, I Would Die For You. But can we talk about the beautiful ones for a second? Because that is my favorite Prince song ever. Like, hands down, favorite Prince song of all time. I feel like it's so underrated, it's so overlooked. It's just such a beautiful song, pun intended. The song is a masterpiece, the album is a masterpiece, the movie is a masterpiece, Prince was a masterpiece, just everything was a masterpiece. After this one, we have one more left. So here is Rage Against the Machine's self-titled album. I clearly have not opened this yet, but I do listen to it quite a bit on Spotify. Such a great album. I saw this at Walmart for like $20, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that. Everyone knows Killing in the Name. I think that's like the most popular track. like my favorites are Wake Up and Know Your Enemy, especially the guitar riff on Know Your Enemy. Tom Morello ate with that one. I should also acknowledge they just got inducted into a place that rhymes with the Sock and Soul Stall of Same. I will never say that name on this channel because I may or may not have used to work there and it's still a little bit of a touchy subject, but good for them, they deserve it. And the last album I have for you guys today is No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom. This is a quintessential breakup album. In case you didn't know, Gwen Stefani wrote a lot of the songs while going through a breakup with the bass player Tony Canal. I feel like the standout tracks are definitely Just a Girl and Don't Speak, like they did the best commercially. My favorite tracks are Happy Now and Sunday Morning. I used to hate Sunday Morning, so it definitely had to grow on me. I used to skip Sunday Morning like all the time, but now I love it. So yeah, we love growth. So that is the end of the video. I hope you guys liked it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, let me know. If not, let me know down below why you didn't like it. I can take constructive criticism, that's cool too. Also, I'm gonna do more videos like this and some vinyl hauls in the future, so if you are interested, subscribe. If not, that's cool too. I am not begging for subscribers. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram at YourGamut and on Twitter at LoserLikeLex. But with that being said, have a happy Thanksgiving and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.